It's natural, it's used to just know its way about.
Okay. And like what I was saying yesterday is you can work your way in, you can do something dynamic and big and sweeping first to start off if you wanted to, but then I'm going to just go into the eye because I want to say a few things about explaining an eye. Okay. I was thinking that, Isabella. That colour. I thought maybe at the back of yours, maybe just as a step in.
What did you say? It's crimson.
It's a alizarin crimson and cadmium red together, and just something simple like a move that'll just kind of let us. It doesn't have to be clear, I think. Okay. So we've got a position for the eye and the eyebrow, the two directions of the eyebrow, which is where you kind of begin. And then I'm going to relocate just to find my way back in. I'm going to put a warmish reddish kind of shadow colour here. I meant to say this is Aine Divine coming to you from Cockenzie house. So the shadow that's in here, I'm just warming it up a little bit and finding my way into the socket of the eye. Now I made it a bit too dark. Sometimes if you put on a colour that's maybe a bit too strong, just come back in then with your damp brush and use this as a reservoir. So take your time, don't feel like, oh God, I made a mistake, I have to take it off. Use it. And often it's a gift, you know, these things often turn out to be just what your painting needs. I remember a landscape artist, James Morrison, I think his name is, or maybe that's a pop star. Pop star. Morrison skies, you know, big cloudy skies. It is James Morrison, is it?
It's definitely Morrison, but yeah,
Morrison,
sure.
Jim maybe. Anyway, he said that whenever he's looking for something, I saw a demonstration of his, whenever he's looking for something to be bright and punchy in the landscape, he looks up and there suddenly something is. That he just the colour he needs in the place he needs it. When he's looking on his painting, he needs something. A bit like maybe Constable's Haven, where there's the bright red in the midst of all that green. Okay. And of course you'd be standing back regularly and you would continue using the same colours elsewhere, but I'm going to do this eye. Okay. So the next thing, after finding the two directions of the eyebrow, which I'm going to re-establish with this ultramarine blue, pushing it up and letting it fill the space again. Two directions of the eyebrow. Then you might find the direction of the upper lid. And there will be two directions to the upper lid as well. I'm just aiming first for this one. And if I was to continue it, it would touch the end of this eyebrow. So it's something like there, I think. And in locating the eyelash line, you're looking at the shape of the space too between the eyelashes and the eyebrow. And as you stand back, you can see whether or not, like I'm quite happy with that slope. Maybe it could go up a little, and maybe the eyebrow can come down a little. I'll just bring the eyebrow down a little actually. Yeah, that seems a better option for me, because I wanted to make the space a bit more like a smaller parallelogram. Smaller. Sean Connery coming in. Okay, and now I'm putting in a little bit of yellow ochre and cadmium red to warm up that area above. Just because it's wet, I may as well. You know, when something is wet, you can use the opportunity to inject a bit of colour and let it bleed in like skin. Now, after doing the line of the upper lid, I'm going to shift to a smaller brush because I want to describe the other lines. Yeah, so there's the direction this way. The shadow underneath the lower lid as it comes up to meet the upper surface of the lower lid there. And now I'm mixing the ultramarine blue and cadmium red together. So it's that kind of colour. And it's going to make a mark that will come in, yeah. So the corner of the eye is in further than the corner of the eyebrow. And there's a vertical kind of an edge to it as well for a while. and then it kind of is disturbed by this. It goes that way for a bit. And lifts, and then I do the same here, but it's not got over here like the shadow's doing that, where the shadow underneath the lower lid meets the face. It's going diagonally like that, so that it's actually kind of in line with this eyebrow, the edge of the shadow. It's a bit like orienteering, isn't it? So you're kind of looking for clues like, alright, so I'm going to make something dark now to explain the iris next. You don't really want to do a full outline of the eye, no matter where you're looking from. You might find the two directions of the upper lid, so you're looking straight onto the eye, two directions of the upper lid, two directions of the eyebrow. Look at the shape of the skin, the shape between them. And then you don't really want to do an outline down here. It's very often fairly close to horizontal. You might just have a broken line, you know, with something to identify the inner corner of the eye. And then finding the position of the iris by looking at the shape of the whites of the eye on either side. And that's what you're always doing really. You're locating the shape of the iris by finding the position of the eye on the other side. No, the position of the shape of the white of the eye beside it. So it's a triangular kind of a shape, the white of the eye here. So I've got two sides of the triangle and I'm aiming for the third as a way of finding the iris. And using the brilliant green and the alizarin crimson, it'll be good and dark. Because if you're really, you find yourself ready to really observe, then you want to be sure that you can nail it. If you've gone to the trouble of seeing it really well, then you want to get the mark, get ready so you can put it in, you know. Okay, so now I've got a dark. Get ready so you can put it in and it'll stay there. It's not going to run away and you have to find it again. The first moment of noticing is key, really. And then there'll be another first moment of noticing. Okay. And I'm going to make it a bit more green now, so that it's going to read more as iris colour. Because that there is kind of more the skin, the dark skin, I think. And then back here will be the iris, colour of the iris. And I often find it's helpful to visualise the iris as though it's coming back into the face diagonally that way. I'm not really sure why that is, but I think it's something about nestling it into the socket of the eye. Okay. And now it might be a good time to put something dark again in the eyebrow. Okay, that same dark could be used to find more truly the upper lid. Still looking all the time and selecting the parts that are helpful, really working to get them. And still, like in the last few days, the lightest part of the eye was the upper surface of the lower lid, and here it's the same. It's like it connects with the white of the eye in the inner corner there, and surrounding the dark of the iris, there's a kind of a loop, a hammock shape of light, which incorporates the upper surface of the lower lid and the whites of the eye. And what I'm doing here is, hope look at the same place, yeah. What I'm doing here is that I'm trying to capture the overhanging shadow from the lid onto the coloured part of the iris a little bit as well. And I'm going to pull it up there so it connects. That's the yellow ochre, because there'll also be a bit of a shadow on the white of the eye, I think. I'm not sure here if I want to put a lot of cerulean blue in, but put a little bit. Sometimes putting a bit of cerulean blue into the white of the eye gives it a value that makes it different from the skin around it, but it stops it reading as too bright. And like I said before, it's really useful to see colour, to see different colours as a way of differentiating the parts of the eye from one another. You can find different colours. So the inner corner of the eye there will have a bit of warmth to it, I reckon. I'm really trying to locate where that is, and then just believe it. Sometimes you can look and think that can't be right. You forget that can't be right business. Look, no, and then just do it. Forget the other stuff, because that's just mind coming in. And really, there's something more true that can be captured if you respond intuitively, I think. Okay. Alright, and then I think that there is a darker quality to the lower lid. to the lashes on the lower lid. The light is on the lower lid, but then there's lashes beside it that will emphasise the light. So that's what I'm going to do now, is to find the line of those lashes. It looks like it's kind of horizontal. And then there's a cast shadow from the eyelashes onto the cheek there, which is kind of nice. Normally I wouldn't say focus too much on that, but I think it's okay. Maybe not. Just lift it a bit. And then it could that could all come in a little bit more, couldn't it? And you'll decide which edges are helpful and which need to be softened. Maybe after you've found the direction first after you've found the general direction of the eyes, then you could soften things. I'm putting some orange into the red. Because I think maybe here could be given, that's a bit bright now, but it's okay. And then what you could do, you see, very often is what then you do around the eye that integrates it. Like bringing some of the same tone into the skin elsewhere will make the eye read as, you know, the colours in the eye. It's lovely that you're encouraged to introduce more colour because of what you've done in one area. It can make you more bold elsewhere. And it means also that you maybe don't need to do as much as you might have thought in the eye. Just put a bit more skin colour in there. And something over there maybe. But the underside of the nose is key as well, isn't it? We were talking about noses quite a bit. We were saying how if you've got some sort of a shadow that explains the nose, that you can then find the cavity of the nostril, the real shape of it. Aim to find the actual shape that it is, and that'll get the turn of the head and the turn of the nose. It'll explain the nose for you, really. So that it nestles up into the shadow that's there a little bit. And you might find that when you do shadows, sometimes your colour is really dry in your brush. You don't want it to be too dry. You want it to make a mark that's like more like that than, or even more watery. Work at the consistency of things so that you're making a mark that's going to hold the pigment for you in the nose, but it's not going to be hairy at the edge and really rigidly dark. So it's I think it's kind of a long, goes up a little bit, longish shape. And then the corner of the mouth can be given a bit more of that depth of tone as well, possibly. And of course the other part, is someone timing me?
13 minutes.
Pardon?
13 minutes.
13? So how could I have gone over? Sorry. Okay. I thought that I was kind of waiting for an alarm someone might have mysteriously set. Okay. The other thing I was just saying is that those two shadows are also helpful in describing the nose. And of course, expanding out the way, once you've done things of colour in here, you can expand out the way then. Okay. Okay, so that's the end of it. Thanks very much for your attention. Thank you. Sorry for going on with it.
It was the extra minute that did it.
That did it.
That's good too, isn't it? Yeah.